Welcome to week 10 of Bible Studies for Life. We're continuing in the book of Genesis, continuing this story this week that we had last week, Jacob and Esau, kind of get the end of it and then the extended part of it, okay? I'll say once again, read the chapters. There's a big chunk here. We're going from 27 to 33. So read through those parts. Take some time just to read through those chapters. I think you'll enjoy that, and I think it'll be helpful to you as you present the lesson, as you study this passage. Okay, before we dive in, be sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button, the like button. If you've got a comment, a question, put it in there. Tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to see that. And then also share the video with somebody else. Appreciate it if you'll do that as well. And then finally, if you want to support what we're doing, you can go to give.exposedtochrist.com and you can help support the teaching and the ministry mission work that we're doing. Okay, we're going to dive in to Genesis chapter 27, picking up here. Okay. Last week we were in 27. This week we're picking up on this story. Jacob has been blessed. Isaac has blessed him. Okay, the blessing is supposed to go to Esau. Verse 35, but he replied, your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing. This is Isaac telling Esau what's happened, right? Your brother deceitfully came and took your blessing. We saw that, the deceit that happened, right? So he said, isn't he rightly named Jacob? Jacob means trickster. For he has cheated me twice now. He took my birthright, and look now, he has taken my blessing. And then he asked, haven't you saved a blessing for me? But Isaac answered Esau, look, I have made him a master over you, have given him all of his relatives as his servants, and have sustained him with grain and new wine. What then can I do for you, my son? Okay, this way that the culture worked was that blessing came to the oldest son most times. Isn't it interesting, though, in Scripture, we see that often it's the oldest son who is not the one through whom the promise is extended, and that's the case here, right? We see it with David, who's the youngest, right? We see that often where it's not the oldest son that even when God chooses David, he's going outside of the line of Saul. He's not picking Saul's, So we see that David chooses Solomon, who's not his oldest son. We see this often in Scripture where it's not the firstborn. It's not the way, let's just put it this way. It's not, God doesn't follow the culture. Just because this is the way we do it, this is how we've always done it, the Lord doesn't follow that way all the time. And that's probably a good lesson for us in church world too. Just because that's the way we've always done it doesn't mean that's the way the Lord wants to do it. Okay, so he says, this guy, man, this Jacob, they rightly named him, he's cheated me twice. He's cheated me twice. He says, where's the blessing for me? Isn't there something for me? Boy, you hear that from Esau talking to his dad. Where's something for me? Now, I just want to say, Isaac answers Esau, and he says, what then can I do for you, my son? I've already given. I've made him the master over you. Personally, okay, this is just me. The fact that the culture said that was how it happened didn't mean that Isaac couldn't give a blessing to his son Esau. Just because did he have to do it? Somehow he had obligated himself, and he just couldn't, even though he knew it was wrong and he knew it was deceit, and now he knows that he's been tricked out of this. He doesn't have the ability to say, no, I'm going to even speak a blessing over you. I think that we should look at that and ask ourselves that question. Just because this is what people say I should do, is that what I have to do? Is this how I have to go about it? Or is there another way? Okay, we can go on here. Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. And Esau determined in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are approaching, then I will kill my brother Jacob. Esau held a grudge. And we look at that and go, I get that, right? I can understand that. Because that's the way we are. That it's humanity, right? It's human. I understand. He's mad, he's angry, he's bitter. Jacob has done nothing but cheat. All his life, all Jacob has done is cheat Esau out of stuff. Even though that was the Lord's declaration that this is how it's going to be. I will kill my brother Jacob. When I get a chance, after my dad dies, I'm through mourning. I'm killing that guy. We get it, right? Not saying it's right. Not saying that was good, but we can understand that. Can't we understand that? Let's be realistic and human about this. Now we're jumping to chapter 33. Now Jacob's been through some stuff. It would be helpful to you to read the in-between part to see all that Jacob has been through. But most importantly, he has had an encounter with God that has had a huge effect on his life physically as well as spiritually. And through all the things that he has been through, God has been working in his life. Okay? But it appears to me Jacob's not the only one the Lord's worked in. Now Jacob looked up and he saw Esau coming toward him with 400 men. Now Jacob has determined to go back. He's going back to try to make things right with Esau. On his way back, he sees Esau coming with 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two slave women, and he put the slaves and their children first, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He himself went on ahead and bowed to the ground 7 times until he approached his brother. So he puts the ones that he doesn't care about the most up front, and the ones he cares about the most in back. If they're going to kill them all, maybe they'll be tired, or we will have defeated enough of them that the ones in the back will live. But then he himself goes ahead, bows to the ground 7 times till he approached his brother. So he's going in, bowing down, falling on the ground, trying to show this humility as much as he can. The thing that is important, okay, he did put the weak out front, but you know what? He didn't put warriors out front. Okay? Esau ran to meet him and hugged him and threw his arms around him and kissed him. And then they wept. It looked like God's been working in Esau's life too. And we don't have the record of that. We don't have the story of that. We have the story of Jacob and how God has worked in his life. But it appears evident God has worked in Esau because you see this humility, right? We see this humility. I know the lesson talks a lot about this humility of Jacob, which is right. God has humbled him. But I want you to see the difference in Esau as well. Esau runs to meet him, hugs him, threw his arms around him, kissed him, and they wept together. They were brothers after all. And I suspect that there were times as brothers when they lived in that house and saw the way their parents were treating them unfairly, the way the parents favored one over the other, that they were brothers. And it wasn't always a rivalry between them, even though brothers have a rivalry naturally. But there's also a camaraderie that happens with that, right? And they loved each other. Even if their parents didn't help that happen, they loved each other. That becomes obvious here at the end, right? And Jacob is coming back, trying to be humble, and he is in effect offering a peace offering to his brother. Esau goes and he accepts that peace offering. This bitterness back here, this grudge, has turned to forgiveness when you get here, hasn't it? And then look at this. So Esau said, "What do you mean by this whole procession I met? With to find favor with you, my Lord." I want you to go back and look. I have made him a master over you. Here, Jacob calls him my Lord. That not, God, like in the New Testament, they call Jesus Lord, but Lord, you are my master, right? And look at this. "I have enough, my brother," Esau replied. "Keep what you have." I have enough. He's offering all of these. He's put animals, he's done all this stuff, right? And Esau says, "No, I got enough." And we'll go back here. He says, "You've given him all of this. Where's my blessing? Where's my blessing? Dad, where's my blessing?" But then here, "I have enough. Keep what you have." Jacob said, "No, please. If I found favor with you, take this gift from me, for indeed I have seen your face, and it is like seeing God's face, since you have accepted me. You have accepted me." Right? "Please take my present that was brought to you, because God has been gracious to me and I have everything I need." So Jacob urged him until he accepted. "I have everything I need." Esau says, "I have everything I need. I have been taken care of." The Lord has taken care of both of them. He's blessed both of them. He's moved in the lives of both of these brothers. What an amazing thing, right? That out of this terrible dysfunction that was in their home, and separate for so many years and then come back together. And now God has moved them both to a place of, I have enough. I am content. And you see that when we looked at last week's lesson, right? You saw the discontent from both of them in a sense. I mean, the reason that Jacob was willing to steal the blessing is because he wanted the blessing, right? It wasn't just being obedient to his mother. He wanted that blessing. And so did Esau, right? Esau said, I'm going to kill you because of this. And now here he is. Both of them had enough. They're okay. The Lord is taking care of them. Look, there can be great division. There can be great anger. There can be bitterness. There can be hard-heartedness. There can be this resentment. But if we will allow the Lord to work through the situation, if we will allow our own hearts to be softened by Him, if we were willing to say, I'm not there yet, but maybe I will be, the Lord will get us there to a place where we can forgive. But we've got to be willing to let God move in our lives. We've got to be willing to let God, and sometimes it is that the Lord is just going to have to take hold of us and break us so that we come to a place where we fall on our knees before Him and say, all I need is you. I've got enough. If I just have you, Lord. And then we can offer forgiveness, mercy, and we can be restored in relationship if we're willing to let God work in our lives. It's a great story of reconciliation between these two brothers, isn't it? All right. Next week we go on. We're hitting the big parts of the story. So some great stuff heading to the story of Joseph. Looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. Be sure and like, comment, share it, and subscribe. All right. We'll see you next time.